What's going on, everybody? I know it's been a while, but I am back. In my last videos, I was showing you what I was doing to the frame as well as the swing arm and a few other things. I got quite a bit more done since then. So let me show you what I did with the frame. Okay, so let me take you through what I did to this frame. I didn't get a chance to go through this and show you before I got it blasted and coated. But may not look like much. There's a lot going on here though. So let's start here with the rear sets mount. Okay, so these dropouts for the rear sets, this style only comes on the 76, 78. The Daytona had a huge loop here, and the actual mounts for the rear sets are much wider. So I had to fabricate these brackets, weld these dropouts on, so this should work all right. I was able to use the original BrakeMaster mount, but I did have to move it and modify it just a little bit so it fits the new BrakeMaster. Every piece and every bracket was trimmed off this frame that isn't necessary. There was a whole bunch of brackets here where the oil tank used to sit. Everything has been trimmed off. I removed one of the reinforcements here off the front, and I fabricated a new reinforcement so I can mount a ignition switch in there. At the top here, this is the battery tray. I do need a strap to hold the battery in place. This is where the M unit's going to sit, right across here. The rear shock mount I talked about, I believe, in one of my other videos. Rear shock mounts through here. This is reinforced with these vertical brackets here, so there shouldn't be any problems with cracking or anything on this frame. I really like the look of the floating seat, but I couldn't quite achieve what I was looking for. There just wasn't enough support through here, so too much weight on the back of this and it would have started to bend right in this area. So I needed to reinforce it here. This is a little smaller diameter tubing than the frame itself, but I think it looks all right. And there is still somewhat of a floating rear end that's going to happen on this bike. In the center section here, this is where the seat pan is going to mount from the bottom. There's a lot of room to run everything through here. I also have a few nuts that I welded on the bottom here to have a closeout panel that I'm going to put on the back here. There's room for the oil tank up here, which I haven't quite fabricated yet, but it is going to bolt on these spots right here, as well as at the back. I'm also going to have most of the lines as hidden as possible. So you see here I made these tabs very similar to a mountain bike, so I'm going to be able to run the oil line down here, zip tie it on behind this frame, and then you don't have the zip ties going around the actual bar on the frame. Same thing on the side of the frame here, you can see these two tabs. The clutch sits somewhere right around here, and it's going to be a hydraulic clutch. So the clutch cable is going to loop around, zip tie to these brackets on the frame here, all the way up to the handlebar. And you'll see a little later in the rest of the videos, but I'm going to be able to mount the horn right underneath the engine on this spot right here, and this way you won't see the horn when it's on the bike. First few things I want to do on this bike is get the front end installed, get the swing arm installed, get the shock installed, put the wheels on so I can get this back on the wheel stand on the floor, because I don't have a bike lift to work on. I am having a little bit of trouble with this though. This shock is off of a Yamaha R1. The spring is off a CBR 600. The spring length itself is a little bit longer on the 600, which gives me a little bit more compression on the shock, which is fine, but now that I got this spring on the shock, I can't compress it enough to get it apart because I do want to get this spring coated. And for those of you wondering, I do have an engine assembly video that's coming up shortly, so I'm going to post that one after this, right before the motor goes back into the bike. I'm not going to show you a sneak peek of the engine just yet, but trust me, you're going to want to see this. This motor turned out fantastic. Okay, so I know it's been a long time since I posted my last video, but that was the update as to where I am. So that's it for today. Don't forget to subscribe and follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you in the next one.